Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sicilian Corner. Louis, how are you?
I'm doing well.
You're looking better.
Doing better than I was a couple of days ago. Yes, much better.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, congratulations on Tuesday night. That was. I mean, that's the way to do it.
Oh.
You'll never sit in a regular seat in Fenway Park
You
now.
can't get
never.
me in a grandstand now again. No, it's not going to happen.
Hey, Lou, I have a young man sitting next to me. His name is Matthew Cranney, and Matthew's got a very, very unique job, and it's a job that I believe is very, very satisfying. It's a job that he knows he's helping out and helping the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why I invited him to come on with us. Before we get to Matthew, before I forget, because I know they're listening, the ladies up at Restaurante Molise are sending hugs, kisses, and salutations.
No food?
No food. See the way his mind works?
It's not like we're making a ton of money here.
Alisa, Antoinetta,
Love Molise. Yeah.
they said, "You give Louis a hug for me." I says, "No, I won't."
Not today.
No, I won't.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, their food, cheapest creepest. I was with. I'm sorry you couldn't make it. That was on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
But we met my brother Bob. My brother lives in Stratham, right outside of Exeter, and Barbara and I, and it was a perfect evening. I mean, that meal from beginning to end. And I'm critical. I really am. I'm overcritical sometimes, but I know what I like, and I expect it. And let me tell you, I was not disappointed.
Oh, they always
it was
deliver.
outstanding.
Yeah.
And it was a Wednesday night. You should have seen the people as we were leaving, because we went early. It was just almost full when we left, which is incredible. That's a good sized restaurant. Are you thinking of any place like renting a hall, like to have my 80th birthday party at?
Should it be Molise?
Yeah, on Sunday.
Maybe.
Do it on a Sunday. They're closed, but she will open.
Sunday. This Sunday?
No.
Oh.
No. My birthday's in January.
All right.
You got time to get lead in.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're thinking of a place,
Barbara, you paying attention?
she's going to have to rely more on you.
Okay.
All right. But anyway, if you're thinking of a place to do it, that would be wonderful. You know what we can do? We'll rent the restaurant because it's closed. We'll take the whole restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to probably pay some people to go, but anyway, what do you think? We get the B Street Bombers.
Oh God.
Put them in there, and we have one hell of a blast. You know who the B Street? You're too young, right?
I do not know.
No,
Please
I know.
educate me.
Yeah. Cripey, I got a pair of sneakers older than you. Wouldn't that be nice, Phil?
That'd be excellent. Be a lot of fun.
Yeah, think about it.
Have them play out in the little market square there and draw a crowd.
It's amazing how much traffic goes through that little square.
Yeah, I know, right?
But no accidents. I mean, everybody kind of respects each other's right away, so it's good. Matthew. I want you to tell our Sicilian Corner listeners, what exactly does your job consist of?
All right. Well, first, I just want to say thanks for having me.
My pleasure.
It's great. I'm really fortunate. So I'm the Ecological Restoration Program Manager for the Merrimack River Watershed Council.
Can you fit that in a card?
Barely. Yeah. No, it's a mouthful. 2 lines.
2 lines. Font is 5.
Yeah. You got to really look close. But yeah, so my main role in my job is that I coordinate a partnership that's funded by the Massachusetts Division of Ecological Restoration.
Massachusetts.
Yep.
Okay.
So we focus on the Massachusetts section of the watershed, and we work. It's our organization and 5 other partners. So it's the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission, and their kind of area in the partnership is everything downriver of Lawrence. Groundwork Lawrence, who they kind of focus on the greater Lawrence area. The Lowell Parks and Conservation Trust, and their kind of area of focus is Greater Lowell. ORS, which is a watershed organization for the Suasco watershed. So it's the Sudbury, the Assabet, and the Concord. That's everything from Framingham and Westboro up to Lowell. And then the Nashua River watershed, which they focus on, the Nashua River watershed.
How many acres in that watershed?
Ooh, you asked me acreage. I don't know. I don't have a good acreage number, but there's 2 other statewide partnerships like ours, and
That's massive.
and we're the biggest one by far. And what's funny is, just looking at the Massachusetts section of the watershed, it's about a 1/5 of the acreage of the entire watershed on total. So we're talking about a really big area.
Wow. And you don't go at all into New Hampshire.
So my position, funded by the state of Massachusetts, so I work in Massachusetts, but our organization, we work throughout the entire watershed. Yeah.
How did Matthew Cranney get interested in having a job like this? How does that come about? I mean, that's kind of unique. There had to be something that triggered it, right?
Yeah.
You would think?
Yep.
I would say it was pretty riverine. It was not a direct line. I grew up in the area. Spent most of my childhood in Andover, and I live right by the banks of the Shawsheen. So this was
Let's hear it for the Shawsheen River, baby.
Shawsheen River. So that's my home river. And as a kid, I think like a lot of kids in the suburbs, especially in my generation, like all summer, we were outside all the time. So me and my friends, we'd always be exploring the river, making forts, fishing. If it was winter, we were out there playing pond hockey. And Shawsheen, just like the entire Merrimack, was a really industrial river. So we'd find all these cool artifacts out in the woods, or, there'd be some sort of cave, which now I know is an old mill raceway, but it was like, whoa, what's in there? So it was kind of, it was a place where our imaginations could run wild. And
so that triggered it.
So that's really what triggered the love of rivers and being in the water for me. Grew up fishing too, fishing for stripers, going up to the mouth.
Shawsheen had carp.
Shawsheen had some big carp, and they were really hard to get them to rise to a hook. But
they could catch you off guard, boy, let me tell you.
Big monster carp. I remember seeing an eel for the first time and I thought it was a snake, of course, because I was a kid, and just being blown away. It kind of crawled out of a crack in a stone wall, and that was really cool. And probably when I was around 10 or 11, we saw a salmon, and there was a U.S. Fish and Wildlife biologist counting the lone salmon that had made it up to the Shawsheen, and I definitely remember that as kind of a standout moment of, it's kind of this ecological awareness of fish coming in from the ocean all the way up to there. And so
I was telling you earlier, and I've said this on the air, and I don't want to become repetitive, but I learned how to swim in the Shawsheen River. We went to the John Breen Grammar School, which are on the river bank, really, in South Lawrence. And a lot of times, in June, the beginning of June, when it was starting to get hot, we used to sneak out of the schoolyard. And, the guys, 5 or 6 of us would get out and run down to, we call the place called Bluebells. And Bluebells was really beautiful sand. There was a vein of sand that was like Salisbury Beach. And it was a big hill. And we would strip down in our underwear and go for a swim, and then try to dry yourself off as best you could and try to sneak back into the yard. Once in a while, the girls used to get loose, and they'd try to come down and see the guys in their underwear swimming down the river, and then trying to get back in the schoolyard without getting picked up, getting detected was always. But I can remember this was like in the 8th grade. I had Miss Bresnahan, because when I went to school, very few teachers, if any, were married at that time. They were all single. And she was tough. She was the assistant principal for Mr. Potham, but she was tough. And we managed to sneak back into the schoolyard, get up to our room, and I'm sitting at my desk, and I'm not really dry. So I form a puddle of water down by my feet. So she walks up the aisle, and she's walking, and she's talking and asking questions. All of a sudden, she looks down and she sees this puddle of water. She says, "Michael." I says, "Yes, Miss Bresnahan." "Did you go to Bluebells? Did you go for a swim this afternoon?" No, Miss Breastahen. What's all this water? It's sweat, Mrs. Breastahen. You get out, you go down, see Mr. Potham. Oh, she was pissed. She was funny. She was funny. But, I learned how to swim there. And the first time, real quickly, I was going in. I was hesitant. I was really hesitant because we had a rope on a tree.
Oh, yeah, like a little rope swing, yeah.
And finally, one of the older guys says to me, "You gonna go or what?" I'm like 7, 8 years old. Yeah, I'm gonna go. So I finally suck it up. I go, but before I go, the older kid says to me, when you go in that water, be careful because there's some big snapping turtles and they're gonna go for you. How do you do? He planted that seed in me, Matt. Right? That's all I'm thinking about. So now I go off the rope and I drop, and of course I just put my hands down by my thighs. I sank to the bottom. I drank up half the Merrimack, half the Sicilian River.
And that's when you were down there with the snapping turtles.
It stayed up here all these years. I remember I'm picturing it right now. It was freaking nuts. But that river, my father worked at Tire Rubber up in Andover, and they would release a lot of the dyes in the water.
I was going to say, what color did you come out?
We'd come to be 3.
Yeah.
So now kids pay to have their hair done like that. We used to have it natural. I mean, it was crazy. Hey, listen, I have to take a commercial break. And no, we're a little early, aren't we?
A little early.
Yeah. We'll hold on. But it was red, pink, or whatever the colors were. It was nuts. Then the horseshoe was where we learned. Like, I know you had a place in Andover. That's where we learned how to skate. And we would light a big fire every night, and there'd be about 25, 30 kids down there. What a nice time.
Yep.
And good time.
Yep.
Good time. Nothing, no drinking. I mean, it wasn't crazy,
Yeah.
And drugs wasn't really an issue like it is today, So where are you based out of?
So our office is in Lawrence. I live in Salem, New Hampshire, so I get to see both stateside perspectives, which is nice. But yeah, no, we have an office in Lawrence. We also have a satellite office up in Concord, New Hampshire.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Now, basically, in the Merrimack is 117 miles long, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 dams, I believe, in the New Hampshire side.
There are 3
Is there
dams
still
on the
3?
main stem. Yeah, below Franklin.
Then you come down, you have the dam in Lowell.
Yep.
And then you have the Great Stone Dam.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, without that Great Stone Dam, the city of Lawrence would have never been built at the time that it was built. I mean, during the Industrial Revolution, it had such a big footprint that was unbelievable.
Right.
And the thing that amazes me, Matt, from when they put the first cornerstone brick in, it took exactly 3 years to the day. They started 1845 on September 19th, and the reason I remember that, it's my anniversary.
Okay.
And 3 years to the date, on September 19th, 1848.
You get married in 1848?
Oh, you're a hoot. Yeah, you kill me.
Yeah.
You kill me. But it was wonderful. And 3 years of work, and it was mostly all Irish immigrants that were coming to this country. That was the labor. And they worked and they worked and they worked. Let me tell you, that dam, 940 feet wide, is it?
It's about that, yeah. It's a pretty long for length.
Yeah. And 35 feet high. I mean, that's, man, oh man.
It was the biggest dam in the world when
it was
built.
for a while. I saw that.
When it was built,
I saw that. And without the equipment we have today,
all by hand, more or less.
I can't even. I mean, things had to be dragged by horses and crazy. I look at that dam. When I was a kid, that's another thing. I lived in South Lawrence, so we'd be going to the theater. The theater called the Theater Row on Broadway in Lawrence, and there was 4 theaters that were bound together with an exterior wall, and it was the only place in the world that there were 4 theaters, one after another, with an exterior wall that abutted each other. And we used to, where the fish ladder we're going to talk about, where that fish ladder is now, we were able to get down even with the falls and get underneath the falls. There's a walkway that you can walk all the way across from South Lawrence to North Lawrence. It was slippery as hell. But that we did it for kicks. It's a wonder.
Yeah.
I don't even know why I'm here. I mean, truthfully, some of the crazy.
That's a risky spot. Yeah.
Wow. And the water, when the water is running, when the snow starts to melt and it's really coming, you can't even hear. I mean, it's crazy. It's really insane. I love that falls. I do. I love that dam. I think it's fantastic. But you know something, it amazed me, all the labor, and that was done by labor, no heavy duty equipment to speak of. And what do you think, Louis, that dam cost in the 3 years that they constructed from 1845 to 1848?
Oh, 1845 to 1848. 10 grand.
What's wrong with you?
Any number of things.
10 grand.
I don't know. I can't convert money to 18.
Do you happen to know?
I don't know. I'm very curious. I feel like you're going to tell me right now.
Absolutely.
All right, let's hear it.
250,000.
250,000 in 1854.
1845.
1845.
To
That's a lot of money.
250 grand to do all that. All those people. Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
Mega. It's like the big dig of the time.
Absolutely. Like you said, it was the biggest dam in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, we have it right here. Lawrence was famous, that dam. And the other thing growing up in the city of Lawrence, Massachusetts, was our water system. The water purification plant wasn't too far away from that dam on Water Street. And at one time in the early 50s, the water was considered, that was the premier refinery for water. It used the reverse osmosis. And I can remember we had people from Germany coming to see it. And I mean, it was big.
I mean, Lawrence is where sand filtration, water purification was discovered.
Exactly.
And it was at that water experiment station.
Water experiment station. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, Louis.
That's $10.3 million today.
I was just going to ask you.
250,000 in 1845 is $10.3 million today.
And I'd be shocked if you could build that dam for $10 million.
Probably not. No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think they.
I know.
Steal.
I know not. That's for sure. Hey, listen. I want you to pay attention to the commercials. All right. And if you don't get hungry after you, Louis, why don't you take us on?
Ciao, this is Esther of You, Me, and Sicily. I want to talk to you about Tommy Amin and the great staff at Butcher Boy Market. Families, foodies, and home chefs come together at Butcher Boy to talk good food and create traditions. They offer the best in quality cuts of beef, pork, lamb, poultry, and restaurant-style steaks and chops. Produce? All of their produce is hand-selected to complement any meal or even to make it your main course. Their deli serves fresh roast beef, turkey, and beautiful imported Italian cold cuts, cheeses, and antipasto. And don't forget the Butcher Boy Bakery, featuring sweet delectables from all over the state, as well as their very own bakery. That's Butcher Boy, where the secret to a great steak is, of course, the steak. Located at 1077 Osgood Street in North Andover, Massachusetts, in the Butcher Boy Plaza. Ciao!
This is Tom Zappala. Located in the heart of downtown Haverhill, the Haverhill Beef Company is a full-service, old-fashioned butcher shop and meat market that continues to be a valued family tradition since 1952. Peter and Monica Carboni's Haverhill Beef offers individualized service from an outstanding selection of marinated sirloin tips, homemade sausage, marinated chicken, and thick, juicy Chairman Reserve steaks. Your family deserves the best, so call Peter at 978-374-4795 or visit their website at www.haverhillbeef.com.
This Labor Day weekend, bring your entire family for the 101st Annual Feast of the Three Saints in Lawrence. The best Italian food, free parking and entertainment, and carnival rides for the kids. Stop by the Beer and Wine Gardens and enjoy a great lineup of entertainment. On the bandstand Friday night at 7, it's the Full Circle Band, followed by Scanzonati at 8. The Bellas perform at 6 on Saturday night, and at 8, it's Ray Mass's Euro Rhythms. At 4:30 on Saturday, stop by the Cultural Tent for a cooking demonstration with Chef Oscar Figueros. From Grazie Grazie Italian Restaurant in Dracut. And the B Street Bombers close out this year's feast entertainment Sunday night at 8:30. Come celebrate over 100 years of Italian food, fun, and entertainment at this year's Feast of the Three Saints, August 30th through September 1st in Lawrence. Follow the signs from the Marston Street exit on 495. Sponsored in part by Eastern Salt Company, Trident, Jackson Lumber and Millworks, Tripoli Bakery, Market Basket, Cottadella Funeral Home, JG's Ice Cream and Fun Center, Donna's Sausage, and Wind Waste. Visit threesaintsinc.org.
When you dine at Ristorante Melisse in Amesbury, Massachusetts, you feel at home while enjoying an authentic Italian dining experience not to be forgotten. From the appetizer to dessert, you won't regret your choice. Bring your cravings and appetites. They promise you won't leave hungry or without leftovers for the next day. Takeout and catering are also available. Give them a call or visit them online for the menu, online ordering, and reservations. RistoranteMelisse.com. That's RistoranteMolise.com or call 978-388-4844. Ristorante Melisse, where you're treated like family. Legacy Care Law Firm provides estate planning and elder law services to people in the greater Merrimack Valley and southern New Hampshire areas, with offices in North Andover and Woburn, Massachusetts, as well as Nashua and Salem, New Hampshire. Discussing family and financial matters with an attorney can be intimidating, but our goal is to help you prepare for the future as you preserve your legacy. We help clients qualify for government medical benefits and ensure their estates are preserved for their families so they don't need to worry about their estate being wiped out by high nursing home expenses. Legacy Care Law Firm attorneys are here to support your journey toward a more secure financial future.
At Cottadella Funeral Home, we reinvest in our business to provide your family with the best facilities. It begins with a beautifully landscaped exterior, parking for 250 vehicles, and a comfortable and inviting access to our renovated interior. Funerals can be costly, so you should review and compare plans to make sure you receive services that are fairly priced. I invite you to experience the Cottadella difference in cost, facility, and service.
Cottadella's honoring and celebrating the lives of the people we loved, providing exceptional care since 1929.
Italian artisan cuisine combines simple, fresh ingredients with time-honored preparation to create an incredible culinary experience. At Tuscan Kitchen, located in Salem's historic Depot District, talented chefs prepare everything in-house from scratch for all to see. Guests enjoy their meal literally in our kitchen as food is prepared right in front of you. Wood ovens burn from morning till night, roasting vegetables, baking bread, and firing delightful thin-crust pizzas. Prime steaks are seared on a wood grill. A rotisserie slowly roasts marinated whole chickens and lamb, while a pasta maker creates fresh fettuccine. More than just artisan cuisine, Tuscan Kitchen features the wine bar, live entertainment, weekly wine tastings, and elegant private dining and event space. Call 603-952-4875 or visit TuscanKitchen.com to make a reservation and learn more about the culinary adventure that awaits. In Italy, cooking is an art form. Tuscan Kitchen. Experience artisan Italian.
Orthopedics Northeast and Essex Orthopedics have joined forces as Mobility Bone and Joint Institute to bring improved access and outstanding medical care. While our name has changed, our dedication to exceptional care remains the same as it has for the past 30 years. Same location, 16 Pelham Road, Salem, New Hampshire.
This is Cindy
and Mike Kunstler,
owners and operators of Four Oaks Country Club and Grazie Italian Restaurant in Dracut, Massachusetts.
Grazie Italian Restaurant is the hidden gem of the Merrimack Valley.
Why is that?
We have an incredible chef, Oscar Figueroa.
In the words of local famous chef and restaurant owner Lydia Shire,
Oscar thrives on hard work.
He is capable and gifted.
No one makes better food. Scallops, seared to perfection.
House-made ravioli with farm-fresh local corn.
And buttery tender, lazy man's lobster, just to name a few.
You have to come experience Grazie Italian Restaurant for yourself.
Grazie Italian Restaurant, located at Four Oaks Country Club, 80 Meadow Creek Drive in Dracut, Massachusetts. Hope to see you soon.
And we are back in the studio with us. We have Matthew Cranney. And Matthew's got a very unique job. And I'm going to switch over. Louie and I are dying to find out what is your job description? What is your purpose? Why are you there?
Yeah, so as I said, I coordinate this partnership, and I kind of see it as having three functions. One is to basically serve as a regional resource for folks who are trying to do restoration work related for the river. And what's emerged now that we're into the third year of the partnership is that aquatic barriers, so things like dams and culverts, are having some of the most negative impacts on our watershed, keeping aquatic animals from moving up and down throughout rivers and streams. The other things are things like we promote green infrastructure and wetland restorations, which can, solve some flooding and stormwater quality issues, and also wetlands create their own habitat and have their own value, and can even have some climate change mitigation, store some carbon in the root and in the soil from those wetland plants. So those are kind of the projects that the partnership helps to promote. So I serve as a resource for people who, let's say your family owned a mill or an old factory, it's still attached to this mill. Owning a mill, you're legally required to maintain it. This mill's now serving no point. It's now over 100 years old. What are you going to do with it? Well, we want to be the people who, you can turn to us and we'll help you navigate that problem, maybe find funding to help you take out that dam.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you got a project going on in Massachusetts right now, in Billerica, as a matter of fact, right?
Yeah, that's one of our bigger projects going on right now.
And that's the Shawsheen Concord?
That's on the Concord River.
That's the Concord River?
Mm-hmm.
So how big, let's look at comparison. How big is that Talbot Dam? You guys want to remove it?
Yeah, so it's been going through the permitting process right now.
Okay. So that means that the owner, somebody owns a private owner.
Owner owns that dam.
So now their responsibility for maintaining it disappears once that happens, once it's gone, right?
Right. Once it's gone, nobody needs to take care of it anymore.
All right. Louis wanted to know what's the benefit of taking it out?
Well, if you're a private
Isn't
dam
that what you
owner,
asked?
That's one of the things I asked. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So for people, the
Thank you,
benefit is you're retiring a potentially dangerous piece of infrastructure, because anything built by humans eventually is going to fail.
Going to wear out.
And these dams, most of them, you're looking at 100 to 200 years old. That dam in particular is over 200 years old. It's built in 1812. So it's a long time.
Yeah.
And if it fails catastrophically, well, that's it's ranked by the state as a significant hazard dam, which means
How high is it?
it's about 12 feet, I believe.
Okay.
So it's not super tall, and most of the dams in New England,
The
we're not
Lawrence
talking about very
Lawrence
big
Dam
dams.
is 36, right?
Mm-hmm. And on a global scale, 36-foot high dam is not considered a very tall dam.
It isn't.
No. But so you're removing this risky piece of infrastructure that no longer serves a purpose. For the owner, you no longer need to pay for its upkeep and its inspections.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's a big insurance liability. But the big benefits ecologically is you're removing this barrier that keeps organisms, mainly fish, but also, smaller things or things. The Ipswich River Watershed Association has some great videos of an otter trying to get up a dam, and you can just see it wearing itself out. Otters are adorable, but it's kind of a sad video to watch. But the other benefits too is behind a dam's an impoundment, right? The river's not flowing like it normally does. That water's sitting there and it's stagnating and it's getting hot. So the temperature goes up, and that can change the habitat for a bunch of other organisms. It's depleting the oxygen, so you wind up with a lower quality water. And you're talking about these old industrial rivers, all this sediment's been building up behind it. And a lot of times now, for these older industrial dams, we'll find that there's pollutants in that sediment. So when we remove the dam, we tend to address the sediment problem at the same time, which again is a much more controlled way than if there's a catastrophic failure and you got a plume of toxic sediment going down the river.
So here at the studio, we're not too far downstream from the Stone Dam.
Mm-hmm.
What would the river look like here? How would it change if the Stone Dam didn't exist?
So the Stone Dam, like many dams throughout New England, it's built on an old falls. And before the city of Lawrence existed, right, it was still it's got that nice big flat floodplain in between, Prospect Hill and Tower Hill. It was most likely an indigenous settlement. Most indigenous settlements in New England in the pre-colonial period were around these waterfalls because it was always going to be a recurring influx of food right at the leanest time of year, right? The big fish runs happen in the spring, right when you're getting out of the lean months of winter. So basically, you'd see probably return to a cascade there. There's also another cascade where they originally thought about siting the dam around where the 93 bridge is. So that basically the entire impoundment of the Essex Dam goes from the dam itself up to Duck Island, where the wastewater treatment plant is in Lowell.
Okay.
So all of that, you'd see the river level lowered. and you'd expose basically more new floodplain. So eventually that would revegetate over a couple of years and it would be forest. And you'd also see the river probably move a little bit more because the flows.
It would be even faster.
Well, you'd have faster and slower sections. What you'd have is more diversity of the river flow because you'd have 2 little waterfalls and there'd be pools after that. Yeah. So you'd have this kind of run riffle pattern, which is normally how how rivers kind of look without dams. So you'd have a more diverse amount of area in the river. The river would be a little bit lower. You'd have more protection from floods because that space where, right now it's a full bathtub and you're adding water to a full bathtub. Here, you're adding water to a half full bathtub. So you increase that flood storage upstream of the dam. And you'd have those 2 waterfalls and you'd have all the sediment that right now gets trapped behind the dam. That sediment would be moving down and restoring depleted sediment on the whole reach of the river downstream. And you need kind of this moving sediment to have more diverse habitat for other species. And eventually that winds up at the mouth. So right now we're living in an era of sea level rise. Eventually our salt marsh is at risk of being drowned out. So any little bit amount of sediment that we can add to those salt marshes to accrete, that's going to help us adapt in the Great Marsh for future climate change.
Really?
Yeah.
So pluses versus minuses.
Okay. So pluses versus minuses of
taking the dam out.
So if we want to talk, every dam's different, first and foremost.
Let's talk about the Lawrence Dam.
All right. Talking about the Lawrence Dam. We don't yet have enough
Mikey's on a mission.
Information, really, for me to make a firm decision about that.
Okay.
But I would say that this is the kind of thing where we really want to go out and collect that information because any decision like that, there's going to be pluses and minuses, trade-offs. So we kind of talked about some of the ecological benefits, right? Healthier river, better water quality, reduced flood risks. But you're also talking about
that reduced flood risk is important.
It is important, especially as we
especially now
with climate change, we're getting these a lot more intense rain events. Conversely, the dam at Lawrence is a hydropower dam. So it generates electricity. Right now, at current capacity, it's about as much electricity on an average basis for 7,000 homes.
Have the rates gone down in Lawrence because of that?
No. So local energy pricing and that dam are not connected.
They're not?
They're not. So that electricity gets sold onto the grid, and I think it's a regional grid throughout all New England.
It's a wholesale type thing.
It's a wholesale type thing. So there's not an immediate local benefit. There are some other hydropower projects, like the city of Nashua owns the 2 dams on the Nashua River, and those funds are used differently, right? That electricity. I don't know if they have a local microgrid, but that's one way a hydropower project could be set up, or at the very least, the citizens are getting the profits off of selling that electricity.
The city of Nashua actually owns my water company, where my home in Wyndham.
Are you on Pennachuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, Nashua is really interesting.
Awesome. Let me tell you, we get a report, Lou. I mean, they come, they ask you to fill up a vial of water, and then they send it out and have a report done on it. I mean, and it all happens like within a week. It's incredible.
Wow.
And the follow through is amazing. And the service, they changed all our pipes in our neighborhood because my neighborhood was probably built in maybe 63. And the first thing they did when they took it over, they dug up every single pipe and got rid of the pipes that were there and replaced it with PVC
probably old lead pipes or
lead that's
solder.
What I'm saying. Yeah. And they didn't just repave and make a trench like you see in some of our cities where they work in the streets and you're driving, it looks like you're in freaking Fort Dix. But anyway, they repaved from one end of the street to the other, brand new hot top. I mean, I can't say one bad thing about Pennachuck, let me tell you. And now we're hooked in, because you live in Salem, that water pipe that comes down Route 28, I believe it comes from Lake Massapequa. I'm not 100% sure.
I think my thought was that I think some of Salem still gets Canopy Lake water. I believe Canopy still.
You get Canopy Lake water, but somebody that was really freaking stupid in Wyndham gave all the water rights, even though a big portion of that lake is on the Wyndham side. They gave the water rights, every drop of it, to Salem. And Salem will not sell Wyndham any water. Shame. But it's a beautiful, beautiful lake. You got a call?
Yeah, Roger. Go ahead, Roger.
Roger.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir.
Merrimack River, near and dear to my heart. As a child, I fished in it. Had to ride my bicycle quite a ways to fish. I loved every moment of it. Couple questions. One, if removing the dam, how would that affect Lawrence's water treatment plant relative to water height and everything else, and how much water they have to work with? And second of all, I assume you know who Rocky Morrison is. He's a good friend of my neighbor, Clean River Project. And how has he impacted the quality of water on the river? And he continues to do so, but he does not get a lot of support from the town.
Good
question. Including it with the overflow. I forget what he calls it, but when you get a heavy rain and then release a lot of water
raw
from the sewers. Yeah, and that just
All right.
makes him crazy.
Why don't we give Matthew a chance to
Thanks,
answer
Roger.
that question?
Appreciate the call.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think jumping into the first part of that call, kind of water treatment, and I think I'm going to talk about two different kinds. So we got our wastewater treatment, and the city of Lawrence and the towns of North Andover, Salem, New Hampshire,
Right.
and Methuen all share a wastewater treatment plant, the Greater Lawrence Sewer District. And that's downstream of the dam. And they wouldn't necessarily be affected by the removal of the dam. They need a constant flow rate. And that's actually written into the current license of the dam. It'll be the dam is right now going through relicensing. And that's another thing that'll be a feature of that relicensing, is making sure that a constant base flow is there so that they can not have an over concentration of when they're discharged. On the upstream side, the impoundment behind the dam is the drinking water source for a number of communities. So the city of Lawrence, Methuen, Andover, and Tewksbury all draw water, the drinking water, from that impoundment. And the Methuen, Andover, and Tewksbury, their intakes are on the center line of the river, the deepest part. The city of Lawrence right now doesn't have it as a center line. It's higher up. And I think it was that drought year, maybe 2 years back, where they started to have an issue with water levels dropping too low for the intake to work. So that intake's an issue right now, regardless of whatever happens with the dam, and needs to be something to be considered, is how do we make that intake more resilient?
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of those issues, is that we use our impoundment. We use it as a drinking water source, and it's also an important recreational asset. So when you talk about considering this, when you remove any dam, is you would lose some of that impoundment, and it might change. And so that's one of the things where we want to see, well, let's model that and see what it looks like, and how much would the river actually change, and would it impact existing infrastructure and recreational uses?
Roger, those are two very good questions. Thank you. Lou, why don't we go out, listen to what our sponsors have to say, and we're going to be back, and you're with us till the top of the hour, okay?
All right, sounds great.
I like it.
Ciao, this is Esther of You, Me, and Sicily. I want to talk to you about Tommy Amin and the great staff at Butcher Boy Market. Families, foodies, and home chefs come together at Butcher Boy to talk good food and create traditions. They offer the best in quality cuts of beef, pork, lamb, poultry, and restaurant-style steaks and chops. Produce? All of their produce is hand-selected to complement any meal or even to make it your main course. Their deli serves fresh roast beef, turkey, and beautiful imported Italian cold cuts, cheeses, and antipasto. And don't forget the Butcher Boy Bakery, featuring sweet delectables from all over the state, as well as their very own bakery. That's Butcher Boy, where the secret to a great steak is, of course, the steak. Located at 1077 Osgood Street in North Andover, Massachusetts, in the Butcher Boy Plaza. Ciao!
This is Tom Zappala. Located in the heart of downtown Haverhill, the Haverhill Beef Company is a full-service, old-fashioned butcher shop and meat market that continues to be a valued family tradition since 1952. Peter and Monica Carboni's Haverhill Beef, offers individualized service from an outstanding selection of marinated sirloin tips, homemade sausage, marinated chicken, and thick, juicy Chairman Reserve steaks. Your family deserves the best, so call Peter at 978-374-4795 or visit their website at www.haverbeef.com.
Sisters and co-owners Antoinetta and Elisa brought their family authentic Italian recipes from Molise, Italy, and a warm and welcoming dining experience to its customers at Ristorante Molise. The combination of their meals made from natural, homemade, fresh ingredients and your time with family and friends together at dinner time is unmatched. Located in Market Square in the heart of Amesbury, they're open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday from 3 to 9 p.m. and are available for private parties during off hours. For reservations, call them at 978-388-4844. That's 978-388-4844.
This Labor Day weekend, bring your entire family for the 101st Annual Feast of the Three Saints in Lawrence. The best Italian food, free parking and entertainment, and carnival rides for the kids. Stop by the Beer and Wine Gardens and enjoy a great lineup of entertainment. On the bandstand Friday night at 7, it's the Full Circle Band, followed by Scanzonati at 8. The Bellas perform at 6 on Saturday night, and at 8, it's Ray Mass's Euro Rhythms. At 4:30 on Saturday, stop by the Cultural Tent for a cooking demonstration with Chef Oscar Figueros from Grazie Italian Restaurant in Dracut, and the B Street Bombers close out this year's feast entertainment Sunday night at 8:30. Come celebrate over 100 years of Italian food, fun, and entertainment at this year's Feast of the Three Saints, August 30th through September 1st in Lawrence. Follow the signs from the Marston Street exit on 495. Sponsored in part by Eastern Salt Company, Trident, Jackson Lumber and Millworks, Tripoli Bakery, Market Basket, Cotadella Funeral Home, JG's Ice Cream and Fun Center, Donna's Sausage, and Wind Waste. Visit threesaintsinc.org.
Legacy Care Law Firm provides estate planning and elder law services to people in the greater Merrimack Valley and southern New Hampshire areas, with offices in North Andover and Woburn, Massachusetts, as well as Nashua and Salem, New Hampshire. Discussing family and financial matters with an attorney can be intimidating, but our goal is to help you prepare for the future as you preserve your legacy. We help clients qualify for government medical benefits and ensure their estates are preserved for their families so they don't need to worry about their estate being wiped out by high nursing home expenses. Legacy Care Law Firm attorneys are here to support your journey toward a more secure financial future.
At Cotadella Funeral Home, we reinvest in our business to provide your family with the best facilities. It begins with a beautifully landscaped exterior, parking for 250 vehicles, and a comfortable and inviting access to our renovated interior. Funerals can be costly, so you should review and compare plans to make sure you receive services that are fairly priced. I invite you to experience the Cotadella difference in cost, facility, and service.
Catadella's honoring and celebrating the lives of the people we loved, providing exceptional care since 1929.
Italian artisan cuisine combines simple, fresh ingredients with time-honored preparation to create an incredible culinary experience. At Tuscan Kitchen, located in Salem's historic Depot District, talented chefs prepare everything in-house from scratch for all to see. Guests enjoy their meal literally in our kitchen as food is prepared right in front of you. Wood ovens burn from morning till night, roasting vegetables, baking bread, and firing delightful thin-crust pizzas. Prime steaks are seared on a wood grill. A rotisserie slowly roasts marinated whole chickens and lamb, while a pasta maker creates fresh fettuccine. More than just artisan cuisine, Tuscan Kitchen features the wine bar, live entertainment, weekly wine tastings, and elegant private dining and event space. Call 603-952-4875 or visit TuscanKitchen.com to make a reservation and learn more about the culinary adventure that awaits. In Italy, cooking is an art form. Tuscan Kitchen. Experience artisan Italian.
Orthopedics Northeast and Essex Orthopedics have joined forces as Mobility Bone and Joint Institute to bring improved access and outstanding medical care. While our name has changed, our dedication to exceptional care remains the same as it has for the past 30 years. Same location, 16 Pelham Road, Salem, New Hampshire.
This is Cindy.
And Mike Kunstler.
Owners and operators of Four Oaks Country Club and Grazie Italian Restaurant in Dracut, Massachusetts.
Grazie Italian Restaurant is the hidden gem of the Merrimack Valley.
Why is that?
We have an incredible chef, Oscar Figueroa.
In the words of local famous chef and restaurant owner Lydia Shire,
Oscar thrives on hard work.
He is capable and gifted.
No one makes better food. Scallops, see it to perfection.
house-made ravioli with farm fresh local corn,
and buttery tender Lazy Man's lobster, just to name a few.
you have to come experience Grazie Italian Restaurant for yourself.
Grazie Italian Restaurant, located at 4 Oaks Country Club, 80 Meadow Creek Drive in Drake, Massachusetts. Hope to see you soon.
And we are back. Matthew Cranney is our in-studio guest, and we're just touching, we're skim coating, to be honest with you. I'd have to bring Matthew back at least 5 or 6 more times because there's so much to cover. It's difficult to go in a certain direction. You have a function coming up, right?
That's true.
When is that?
So it's going to be the second Tuesday in September. Our organization, we're going to have a boat tour. It's a fundraising boat tour. So if you want to get on the water on the Merrimack with some of
where will that go out of Abe Basharas?
Nope. This is actually going to be coming out of Newburyport, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah. So we've been doing this series of summer tours, second Tuesdays. And so we've done tours out of Haverhill and Newburyport already. And I think this one's also sailing out of Newburyport.
It's a nice part of the river.
Yeah, no, we've gotten really lucky. I was the guide on a tour out of Haverhill. We saw 5 bald eagles in one trip. Ooh. It was really, really special. Yeah. And that's just going from downtown Haverhill. I don't even think we made it to Rocks Village Bridge.
It's funny you mentioned that because I passed a nest of eagles, a small, on the Connecticut River, Barbara and I.
Beautiful.
It was amazing to see. It really was. That nest was so big. It's unbelievable.
Well, they live in them for multiple years. Once they build them, they're there.
It's a hotel. And the mother was flying above the boat in circles.
Yeah.
And the baby was just looking and staring and gee, it was marvelous.
Majestic.
Marvelous to see.
Beautiful animals.
Barbara got a big kick out of it. She did. It was really beautiful. So this function is going to take place second Tuesday in September.
Yes.
So the weather's going to be good.
Weather's going to be beautiful, I'm hoping. And
you guarantee it, don't you? All right.
The day the boat goes out, the weather will be good.
The boat, you need tickets.
Yeah, so you can find tickets at merrimack.org. That's our organization's website.
Just that? Merrimack.
That's it. Yeah, no, we got a good domain. Yeah.
Wow. Is it narrated?
Yeah, so we're going to have a speaker on the tour.
Oh, that's nice. What day is that? What day is that? That falls on the.
What day are we talking about?
It's the second Tuesday in September.
Yeah, let me see.
So it's a Tuesday afternoon.
The 10th.
10th. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. It's gonna be on the 10th. It's early evening. I think we sail at 5:30.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Sounds wonderful.
Okay, so Matthew, the elephant in the Merrimack River room is the CSOs, and it's a massive infrastructure problem that the state certainly can't fund. The cities and towns can't carry the change. Even the federal government, with all the projects they have to go through, may not be able to carry this change. What are some practical solutions, immediate solutions that is anything being considered to help fix this? I know Nashua put in tanks. Has that been effective? Is that something that's being considered up and down the river?
Yeah, I would say Nashua has done a great job, and Haverhill has done a great job of reducing. Honestly, all of the cities have reduced from where we were 20 years ago. But you are talking about a massive infrastructure challenge, and each one of these systems is different.
Yeah.
And you're talking about 200-year-old systems.
Yeah, Mike's complaining his water was put in 63.
1863, right?
That's one of the oldest developments in Wyndham.
Yeah.
That's a starter house now.
Yeah, so each system's a little bit different, and what it is going to need a massive investment, and really I can't see anyone besides the federal government being able to provide. Yeah. And the way that we've been doing it right now is we're in this reactive system, right? The municipalities don't have the money to afford to address this issue head on, and so they do what they can until they wind up with an EPA dissent decree, and then they have to do it. They're court ordered to do it. I would love to see on a federal level us having programs like when the Clean Water Act was originally passed, where the government gave block grants to build water treatment plants.
Because now the government's just basically shaking their fists at these people.
Yeah, they're like, you have to do something, but we don't necessarily know how you're going to pay for it. There is a revolving fund, but again, that's a lot of stress to put on municipality. But some of the things we can do on the micro level too is doing a better job of stormwater management before it even gets into the pipes. So the less water that gets into the pipes means the less stress on the whole system, so the less likely we have to have an overflow.
But the bigger problem is the heavy rains that we're getting now. You hear of a 100-year rain. you seem to be getting 2 or 3 of them in a couple of years. You know what I mean? The rain, we're getting a lot more water, and our sewer systems can't handle it. So it takes all the debris from the roads and throws it into the system. It just can't. North Andover can't handle it.
Yeah, no. And I mean, we're also talking about 5 different communities contributing to that system. The overflows are just in Lawrence, but all of that wet groundwater too, that starts to infiltrate into these old pipes as well. So you have all these waters come from different areas, and each system's designed a little bit differently. So it's really hard to predict too what's going to be the triggering event. It's not just the rain, it's the groundwater level leading up to it, because that is also a factor. So each one of these is complex, so you kind of have to look at them a little bit differently. And yeah, the simplest, most obvious solution is just separating those systems, but that's the most expensive solution, and it completely disrupts. You're talking about ripping up city streets. That's ripping up every city street all at once. Haverhill's done a really good job, and they've progressed forward separating those systems.
That's good to hear.
Manchester's in the process right now. They've got a couple new separation projects coming, but it's only one strategy. We got to kind of figure out which lines we need to separate. Where can we do subsurface storage, like what you're describing in Nashua? How can we build smarter systems to shunt some of the water into different parts of the system at different times to maximize the efficiencies? And how can we prevent as much stormwater getting into that system to start with? What I like about that is that's a smaller and diffuse thing. You can do that in your own backyard, build a rain garden, put up some rain barrels. That's going to be, everybody has a part to play in that role. And we get some side benefits. We start putting more trees on our streets, more green spaces to soak up that water. Well, it also makes for a more pleasant place to live. So there's kind of multiple benefits.
Drops the temperature too.
Are there any partners in elected official partners in this that are really invested in getting something done here? Everybody talks about it, but is this a pet project of anybody right now?
Yeah, I mean, we've been lucky. A lot of on the state level, our local state legislatures have all been great in these communities, and Lori Trahan has been really great in her congressional representative, and she's helped get us some funding to help do some of these water quality implementation projects. So we're really happy to be able to work with her office.
If you had to pick 3 things right now that you would like to see get done, and starting with number 1 being the top, what would they be right now in 2024? What 3 things would be a big step in the right direction?
Well, I think a big thing in the right direction is removing the dams right now that don't serve any function and are a risk to public safety. That's a win-win.
Okay. You're making Mikey happy.
I would say the next ones would be, figuring out a way to deal with our stormwater issues in a sustainable way. So we need some kind of stormwater utility maybe, or better building code, something where we have a continuous pot of money to not just build new green infrastructure projects, but maintain the ones that we have, and kind of just having that become people's base root practices. Maybe we don't need this to all be lawn. Maybe I can put a little rain garden in here to infiltrate some of this, because that's kind of a contagious idea that I would love to see spread. And it's kind of a cultural shift. And then for number 3, that's a good one. What do I want to do for number 3? I wish that I could be on the river every day. That's my personal number 3. I feel like I'd love to be out of the office even more. That would be my 3rd.
That's cool. Well, you got Rocky Morrison out there, and something, I think the guy does a tremendous job, in my opinion. Some of the cities embrace the project a lot more than others. That's, I'm not the mayor of a community, but as far as the water situation, if you go to Bermuda, almost all the water there, and I know they're going to get clobbered here with this hurricane that's going out. They're expecting 10 inches of rain, but every inch that falls, they manage to save. It's incredible. You look at the roofs, you could eat off their roofs. You see those beautiful red roofs you're flying over. There's a reason for it. They keep them immaculate because all that water goes into these cisterns, and they save that water. And I just think it's awesome. And they managed to get by. I mean, it's a busy tourist place.
Yeah.
And something, it works. It works. If people were to see what happens to the herring trying to go upstream, it's sad. It's a massacre. It really is right now. The bass go, I mean, it's like,
well, so now you can eat buffet for them.
It's a smorgasbord. I mean, they're picking herring right off midair. They just grab them. I mean, it's sad to see. And it's nature's calling that they go up against the current And you know something? Okay, you've had the dam now for 179 years, maybe. Those canals in Lawrence is such an eyesore to me. They drive me bananas, and it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. They should have been a focal point, should have been treed, walkways on Sundays. I mean, just beautiful. And it bothers me to see what's happened because they don't serve a purpose anymore. They do not serve a purpose anymore. So, I mean, if the dam goes, you fill those in, you gain some real estate, and, you know, there's a few things that.
I think there's a lot of potential for improvement. I think those canals are an underutilized resource, and that there's so many different things we could do with them, right? And I think that there's a lot of ways that right now the fish passage level at the dam is unacceptable. I don't know what the solution is, but I think we need to start getting the data and having a real conversation as a community about what's the way where this dam can have the best impact for all the people who live around here and for our ecology.
Is Lori in favor of taking the dam out, do you know, or hasn't she politically gotten forward and stated that? I know she's very involved.
I don't know.
No, okay. That's okay.
And I also would say we don't have any position right now on the Essex Dam as well, but we do want to be gathering more information to see what are the different options we can have to improve fish passage, improve the condition of the recreational and historic assets of the whole project, which include the canals, and improve the water quality in some of these riverine
Those
functions.
canals in Lawrence Drive. I got a case of agita. You know what agita means in Italian?
No.
Not good.
Not good.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
But anyway, hey, listen, you got to come back, man. I mean, I know we just hit the tip of it, right, Lou?
Right.
Lou's dying. He's got all kinds of questions.
Well, I love talking about the river, and this has been a treat. So thank you.
Well, we're going to bring you back because you're a wonderful guest. You're very informative. And I'll tell you, the job you have has got to be very satisfying.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I get to work on the river that I love. It's a great job. I feel really lucky.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you promise you're coming back?
All right, I'll come back.
All right.
You got to feed me, though.
I'll take care of you. I'll take care of you.
He's one of us now.
No, he's on the same plane as we are.
Yep.
Hey, listen, everybody. Next week, you know, we're getting close to feast time in the city of Lawrence. A special time. This is the 101st feast of the three sites. The president of the society is going to be in with us, Tony Parmesano, and we're going to know everything that's going on, what the entertainment is. You know something. It's a credit to the city of Lawrence. It really is. It's a tradition. It's a culture. We hope it lasts another 101 years. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Lou, take care of yourself. Go fishing on the Merrimack. Do whatever. All right. Thank you very much, Matthew.
Thanks
we'll see you later. Take care, guys.